That's why.
I'm still.
Me neither.
I'm still pure.
I'm pure 100%.
I probably had it 3 times.
I tested for antibodies over and over and over again. Every time LifeScan had a problem with the furnace, the rooftop unit, I just let them prick me.
Wow, that's a great deal. They really.
Do we start recording?
They still got a bill, you clown.
All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Rebbe.
Today is Daf Chavav.
Okay.
And Chagiga.
Schmack.
So we left off. We got to the Mishnah. We didn't start yet.
Didn't start. I got your
So yesterday we got off to the Mishnah on the bottom of Chav Hey Amud Beis. 4 lines in the bottom. 4 lines in the bottom of Chav Hey Amud Beis.
You guys lunch yesterday?
Zok the Mishnah. Min hamodiim lifnim. Now, I'm not sure what the distance is from the current day Modim, right? But this was a city, as Rashi points out, that was the same name of town, far from Yerushalayim, 15 mil. So 15 mil. So, but I think current day Modim is it could be, yeah? Okay, it could be. All right. Maybe direct line. Okay.
Like 15 miles.
I guess I don't know. All right. So Mina Modim Lifnim from Modim and within and closer to Yerushalayim, Ne'amanim, then Ami Haaretz are believed al Klicheres from about a Klicheres, because normally Ami Haaretz are not believed as to the status if an earthenware vessel, if they have it in their possession, if it's Tamir Tahor. However, there was a special halachas that they made, a leniency that Rabban Chazal made regarding earthenware vessels, as we'll soon see, because they could not, they did not have kilns in Yerushalayim. They didn't want to make earthenware vessels, so therefore to bring them in. So therefore there wasn't so many. Therefore they said, you know what, not from Modin and in those we believe them.
Why didn't they want to have?
We'll get there. Yeah, the smoke, right? We'll see on the next on today's daf. So mina modim lechutz from modim and outside, further out of Yerushalayim, ain't money. They're not believed. So Ketzad, how so? Hakadashu meicher hakaderos. So one who is a potter and he is selling pots nichnas, right? So he enters lifnim and modim. So if you have somebody, right, who is coming in to sell his wares, to sell his pots, and you see him enter, and he is the one selling those, then he is believed. So you need both of those. That the potter, who is the one who's bringing in from the outside, brings it within Modim, and he is the one who's selling them, then you can go ahead and buy it. However, Yatsa Eineman. But however, if it's outside of that area, he doesn't enter there, then he's not believed, and the Gemara will explain. So let's see the Gemara. Zok the Gemara. Satana. Modim Ba'amin Kalifnim, Ba'amin Kalchutz, the actual town of Modim. Sometimes it's like the inside, sometimes it's like the outside. You know, it's like Modim proper. Then there's inside, meaning closer to Shalayim, and outside, and now it's sort of like the suburbs of Modim. So the town itself, Modim, right? Sometimes it's like, right, the inside of it is close to Yerushalayim, and sometimes Modim is like outside of it. Let's see. Ketzad. Kadar yaitse v'chaver nichnas. If you have the potter who's going out, in other words, he was in he was inside, right? He was within, right, of Modin, and he was exiting, and you have a chaver who's entering, coming from the outside of the in kilifnim. Then it's like the inside. In other words, then he's believed. Why? Because he came there to send his earthenwares. He was going to leave. So while he was still there, so therefore the chaver who was entering was coming from, let's say, Tel Aviv, right? So he, he was able to chop around and buy it while it was still within a Modin. So therefore it's like Modin. However, Shnei Nichnasim, both of them are entering. Oh, turn the page. Shneim Yaitzim, or both of them are leaving. Kilachutz. Then it's like the outside. Why is that? So, simple as the Gemara will soon explain, is because if they're both on the inside and they're going out, the reason why he's not believed anymore is because he should have bought when he was on the inside. And if it was the other way around, 2 people were outside entering into Modim, right? Then they should have. They should wait until they get all the way in within the, inside of the town to go ahead and purchase there, not purchase it when they're on the outskirts. And
a distance thing, or is this just,
so they have like a gzeira, like this is a rule. This is a rule. There has to be a cutoff line, right? So therefore, this is the rule, right? They say, okay, why not the suburbs? So the suburbs will say, why not, 5 miles out. I see their house from there. Why are they different than me? So it's like at some point they made a cutoff, and therefore this is the cutoff they made. And Amar Abaye says, we also learn that there's different aspects of Modin. Sometimes on the inside, sometimes it's like within, and therefore their belief. Sometimes it's outside. A Mishnah says a potter who's going out and selling his pots, and he enters within Modin. So the reason is because he enters within Modin. Modin Gufa. But it sounds like only because he enters within Modin, not just in the city, but within the city. Right? Like past the city, right? Modin Gufa. It sounds like for the Modin itself, he would not be believed. So he says, I aim a sefer, but at the sefer, where it says Yatsa, where he leaves Modin, a Neman, he's not believed. Modin, but Gufa, but Modin itself, Neman, Elalav Shmamina. Rather, learn from here, you can make a diuk of the mission. That's not the diuk, right, inside or outside. Rather, sometimes Modin is one and sometimes the other. How so? Shmamina, Kamikadar Yaitse V'Chaver Nichnas. One is the case when the potter is entering and the chaver, excuse me, when the qadr is going out, heading towards Tel Aviv, right, leaving the city, and the chaver is coming in, and then the modin is okay. And kav shneim yaitzin, but if both of them are yaitzin or are leaving, or shneim nichnasin or entering, then they will not be able to. They're not in a namanim shmamina. And Tana, we learn namanim b'klicheres hadakin lekodesh. We learned, it was also seen in this later on. They believe when it comes to klicheres, an earthenware vessel, a small one, the kodesh. Let's believe that this is tar when it comes to kodesh. And Amar Reish Lakish, it has to be small if it goes in one hand. Rabbi Yechanan Amar Afilu she'ei nitlen biyado achas. Even if it cannot be held in one hand, right? Then it's even though it's much larger, nevertheless still believed. And Amar Reish Lakish Leishanu Elav Rekanim, only if they're empty, they're believed. Of Amalei in love, but if they're full, they're not. Rabbi Yechanan Amar Afilu Malav. Even if they're malay, even if they're full of liquids, v'afilu. So even if his clothing is within it, right? His clothes are in this vessel, and which is really those are tame. Nevertheless, because we don't believe him, it could be zav or whatever it is. Nevertheless, the earthenware vessel is tahor. However, Rabbi Yechanan will agree that even though we say that the pot, even if it's full, is considered to be tahor, we believe him. The liquid inside is tame. So Gemara says, and don't ask, right? How could it be? If you have the liquids on the inside are tame, how could you say that the pot is tahor, right? Or the klicheres shari login malei mashkin, because we find other cases where you have vessel malei mashkin full of liquids and login tameim tuma shiva, when those pots are considered to be something which is tame for tuma shiva. Mashkin tarin, and the mashkin is tarin. And we see that sometimes the gzeir derabanan are not consistent, but sometimes they could sort of create a conflict that one is tame, one is tower. Nevertheless, we see that since we want to be makil on the pots, we'll say that the pot is makil, even though we don't trust the liquids inside the earthenware vessel. Fine. Now Mishnah. Mishnah says Hagaboyim shenichnasu l'seich habayis v'chein haganavim. You have the tax collectors that are coming within a house, right? They work for the king, and all or ganavim come shechziram. They returned. They stole something. They felt bad or whatever it was. They returned it. Didn't fit. They couldn't use it. Whatever. They used it already. They gave it back. Namanim loymar lo nagan. They are believed to say, we did not touch this. This is in regards, right? This is regards to the certain kalim when it comes to kodesh, right? They didn't make it tame when it comes to kodesh, right? But we'll soon see. We'll soon see. We'll soon see about how it's going down, right?
You expect them not to be.
Right. Yeah. But they come back and return it. And right, and then, but however, this is only said by Kodesh, not by Truma. So this is Machlokes Rishonim how to learn here. Uv'Yushalayim. When it comes to Yushalayim, Nemanim al Kodesh, we saw this earlier. Yushalayim, Nemanim al Kodesh. That the Yushalayim, when it comes to the pastor believed al Kodesh, we saw this earlier. And normally they're not believed by Truma, i.e., we're more machmer by Truma. But we say during the holiday, everyone can believe, even Amaretz is believed when it comes to Truma during the time of the reg. So first part, who we're talking about the tax collectors that enter, we say that they're believed to say we didn't touch it, we were not matame it. Right. So they said they did not believe to say they touch inside. I've heard because northern earthenware vessel, you have to be matami from the inside. It's not just from the outside. I've heard Habayis kula tame. The entire house is tummy. So if they go ahead and collect when you're not there, right, Alan, you're asking, so I didn't want to answer that. When you're not there, all the contents are tummy. So how would we just said that they're believed? So what do you mean? Why do they believe, right? So they cash. If there's a guy with them, right? If there's a guy with them, then we'll soon see that everything is Talmud, right? And or if there's not one of them, if there's a nachri with them, they're believed to say we didn't go inside. We didn't go inside. They're believed. Aval But once they go inside and they have a guy who's with them, who also is from the king's offices collecting with them, they're not believed to say we didn't touch. So therefore, that's the case where everything is tamei, right? When he enters with a nachri, right? And basically the nachri is almost like a supervisor, or he'll tell him if he doesn't do his job. So therefore he has to go through everything, even the inside, of earthenware vessels to look for money or whatever it is to collect taxes. The Nachri is with it. What's the big deal? So Rabbi one says he's scared of the guy himself, so therefore he'll go through everything. The other one says no, he's scared that the guy will tell him. He'll tell the Malchus about him that he didn't do his job properly, and then he'll get in trouble. So my ben I was not committing. But you Nachri shein chashiv, right? Nachri shein chashiv. If you hold he's scared of the Nachri is a big loser, so he's not going to be scared. So therefore, he might not go ahead and touch all the contents. And therefore, perhaps he should be believed. But if it's the Nachri shein chashiv, he's a big loser. Nevertheless, the big losers can still go ahead and inform your supervisor. Fine. So too ganavim who came who returned the kalim, they are believed to say lo nagana. We did not touch the inside. The only area that's tamei is where the ganavim went, but where they went, it's tamei. So obviously, right? They took it, right? They took the vessel, they returned it. Obviously, that's considered a place where they went. It should be tamei. Why they believe to say lo naganu, that we did not go ahead and touch it? Samra Pinchas Mishmei Rava, right? Is it the designer? Yeah, the Rabba, right? So Amar Pinchas Mishmei the Rabba. Actually, my colleagues of the Rabba. Fine. Nevertheless, right? Sha'asu tshuva. When he did tshuva, so since they did tshuva, therefore you can believe him that he said I didn't touch it. And Tikanami also inferred them. Tiktani shechzius kalim, right? Obviously they did tshuva, they returned the kalim. Shemami no. Uvishalayim nemanim al kodesh vishalayim. Their belief al kodesh shatana nemanim al kli cheres gas in the kodesh, and they are believed regarding a large earthenware vessel when it comes to kodesh. V'kol kachlama why? Shein oisin kavshanios b'Yushalayim. They don't make kishanos, they don't make kilns in Yerushalayim, right? In other words, because you go ahead and you blackened, right? It's going to go ahead and blacken the walls of Yerushalayim. You don't want to go ahead and make earthenware vessels in Yerushalayim. Therefore, they were hard to come by. Since they were hard to come by, Chazal made it easier for you to go ahead and purchase them. Therefore, they said you can even believe in Amaretz when he says they're tahor. During the time of the regal, also they believe by Truma, Simonani, Emilia, Amar Yeshua ben Levi, Damar the pasuk says, "V'yasef has kol ish Yisrael el ha'ir ki ish echad chaverim," like ki ish echad chaverim. So the pasuk made them all like chaverim. So when they gathered all together, i.e., when they come to the Shas Regel, they all gather, they're all like chaverim, and therefore, when a chaver is believed, right, not just yekas, but a chaver is believed to matara to say that it is Torah. Therefore, everyone, even Amei Aretz, are believed. Fine. Naya Mishnah. Mishnah says, "Hapaseches chaviso." The one who goes ahead and he opens his barrel and he's going ahead and sell his wine, or he starts his huge large dough for people to sell. Agav Regel during the Regel. Now there's leftover. Now we say during the time of the holiday, we have like a special because the Amaretz are basically believed to say they're Torah, but it only applies during the Shas Regel, so there's leftovers. So Rabbi Yehuda Omer Yigmor, since it was open, that even though it was touched by all the people, but it was during the Regel, they're okay. Therefore, you can go ahead and drink it afterwards or eat the bread afterwards. No, you can't. The Gezerah is over. It was touched by Amei Aretz. Therefore, you have to go ahead and you can't finish it. Discard it. So Yossi Zakti Gemara. So Yossi Rabbi Rav Yitzchak Nafcha, Ikled Rav Yitzchak Nafcha. So they were going and they were sitting by Rav Yitzchak Nafcha. Pasachai, one of them opened up. He says, "V'Omar Mahu Shinachenu LeRegel Acher." Can you leave it over? Right. Very important. Rashi here. Lafi the Rabbanan. Now the Rabbanan were the ones in the Mishnah who says you can't finish it. Right. You can't finish it after the holiday. 2 weeks later, you can't finish it. Can I leave it over for next Yom Tov? Right, the wine. Let's say the wine will stay good. It was an open barrel. People on the Aretz touched it during Pesach. Can I leave it over for Shavuos? Samarle Yidach says Yada Kol Mishashim Ba'av Ve'at Amarti Yinechem LeRegel Acher. What? Everyone was touching it, right? Everyone was touching it during Pesach, and those people on the Aretz, and you're going to say you can go ahead and leave it over for Shavuos. So well, I understand during Pesach everyone was touching it. It was okay then. Close it, lock up the barrel, save it for then. It should be okay. What's the big deal? So okay, during then, the tomb of Amaretz, during the holiday, Rachman was Matayr. But now it's Tameh. So Nema Ketanai, let's say it's Machlokes tonight. If you can go ahead and save it for the next Yom Tov. The Tani Chada, Yanichen LeRegel Acher. One says you can leave for the next holiday. But Tani Idak Lo Yanichen LeRegel Acher. He says you can't go ahead and leave it for the next holiday. So my love tonight, it's not Machlokes tonight. So it says, no. Hadik Tani Yanichenu Rabbi Yehuda. Now remember, there was a Machlokes in the Mishnah. Rabbi Yehuda says you can finish it the next week after Pesach, right? So the machlokes in our Mishnah was, can you finish it next week? All right. Versus this shaila of, can you save it for next Yom Tov? Now let's see. Maybe this machlokes is where one says you can leave it over, one says you can't leave over. Is maybe it's not a machlokes in the Rabbanan who say you can't leave it over for the next week, right? Maybe it's a machlokes between, right, Rabbi Yehuda, right, and the Rabbanan. Rabbi Yehuda, that which says you can leave it for the next Yom Tov is Rabbi Yehuda. That which one says you can't leave it for the next Yom Tov is the Rabbanan. So does that make sense? How Rabbi Yehuda Yigmar Kamar, but Rabbi Yehuda doesn't say you can leave it over for the next Yom Tov. Rabbi Yehuda says you can finish it, right? So Ella Hadiktani Lo Yinchen. Maybe it's like this. That which he says Lo Yinchen, you can't leave it over. That's Rabbi Yehuda. That's according to Rabbi Yehuda, who holds that. Right, we'll soon say right that you can finish it now, right? Lo Yinchen is Rabbi Yehuda. That which he says you can go ahead and leave it the next Yom Tov is the Rabbanan, and according to this, the Rabbanan says no, you can't finish it 2 weeks later because that's during regular days. But during next Yom Tov, you can save it then. And my Lo Yinchen, what does that mean when Rabbi Yehuda says you can't leave it? It doesn't. He's not saying you can't leave it for next Yom Tov. He's saying you don't need to leave it for next Yom Tov. Rather, you can go ahead and have it the next week. So basically, it comes out that according to Rabbi Yehuda, says you can finish it the next week, right? If people during the holiday on the Aretz are touching it, right? So since it's okay during the Yom Tov, you can finish it the next week or the next holiday. And the Rabbanan say, no, you can't finish it next week when it's not Yom Tov anymore because the Gzera doesn't apply during the Regel, only later on when the Gzera is back in play, i.e. the next Yom Tov. Fine. Naya Mishnah. Mishnah says, Misha Ovar HaRegel Ma'avirin Al Taras Azara. Once the holiday is over, so we had all the Aretz, people were coming to Yerushalayim. So then we removed, right? We have to go ahead and be Matayr the Azar. They were touching different kalim. We have to go ahead and be toivel the kalim. So Altaras Azar. So he says, Mishaber HaRegel Ma'avirin Al Taras Azara Avar HaRegel Yom HaShishi. However, if let's say it ended on Thursday evening and Isser Chag was Friday, right? They're too busy taking all the stuff out. Therefore, they said, because of Kavod Shabbos, we're not going to go ahead and go ahead and change all the kalim now. We'll say for another time. Even if Isser Chag was on Thursday, also because the Kohanim really don't have too much free time after a holiday because there's a lot of work, as we'll soon see. So Zak the Gemara, Satana Sheina Kohanim right? They can't go ahead and they don't have free time because there's a lot of desh and a lot of ashes they have to go ahead and remove. And therefore, even if they have Thursday and Friday, they still don't have time to be type all the kalim and remove all the ashes and get everything ready for Shabbos. Yeah, it's pretty short. Yeah. Zak the Naya Mishnah says, so how do you do that? To be Matar the Azara. Matvilinus kalim shayv mikdash. He's go ahead and be toivel the kalim of the mikdash. The oimrim, and they also say lahem. He told the people he zeroed. Everyone, be careful. Shalom. Tiga b'shulchan. Do not touch the shulchan. Shulchan. Why? Because the shulchan can't. Because we'll soon see that the inability to go ahead and be taivel the shulchan. So therefore, they said, do not touch it, because everything else, other kelim, you can go ahead and do that. You can't. And all the other utensils in the mikdash, they had a second set, a third set. Because if the original ones were tame, they would replace them with their backups. And all the kelim in the mikdash required tefillah, except for the mizbech hazav, the smaller one on the inside. The chaysha is very large on the outside. Because they were like the ground, they're attached to the ground, therefore they don't require tefillah. That's been in Rabbi Eliezer, because they are plated. We'll soon see that in the Gemara. Just a couple lines in the Gemara. Satana, Hiziru Shema Tigul B'Shulchan Uva Menorah. We have one brayse that says, they said, be careful not to touch the Shulchan and the Menorah. Our Mishnah said, be careful not to touch the Shulchan. So why did the brayse say Shulchan and Menorah? And our Mishnah says, be careful not to touch the Shulchan. So Tana did my time menorah. Why did our Mishnah not say menorah? So shulchan ksibe tamid. It says the word tamid by shulchan. Therefore, the shulchan should always stand there. You shouldn't even remove it to be taivel. It should be there tamid. And menorah like ksibe tamid. Menorah doesn't say tamid. If that's the case, why did the other brayses say that they can't do menorahs? The menorah is always facing, right? It's facing the shulchan. There means you shouldn't go ahead and take it out. It'll be taivel, therefore it should remain in place. So command chsiv by tamid. Therefore, it's like it's written tamid, dummy. Idach, and the other one, why is it says noichach, right? Shulchan. Therefore, it should be there tamid, just like the shulchan. That's only to establish it a place who does. So that's why I came. All right, well, we'll stop here. It goes into the Kliyas. All right, so shkoyach, everybody will stop here. So therefore, tomorrow, Mitzvah Shem, we'll get to the end of Chagiga, get into the Seder Mo.